Cares to come in and talk about what they do and how that impacts the community. I did want to just provide a little bit of our reasoning and goal behind partnering with these kind of organizations and things like that. So last quarter we partnered with Deliver Fund, right? I know technicians and a lot of the frontline office helped with getting those donations and things like that. So right in our mission statement, it talks about what we do in our services and how it impacts the community. This is how that looks for this quarter. So just wanted to provide a little back history and story on why we do certain things, why we partner with certain organizations and people that we really think make a good impact on the community. Cancer Cares is one of those. I think this relationship started last year, golf tournament or something like that, right?
No, just off the internet, but we were looking for an October organization.
Gotcha, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. So we partnered with somebody usually in October. Anyway, so that's where that comes from. So, when you think like, why are they here? What's that like? So our services and what we do every day impact the community, and this is one of those relationships that help with that. And so we've asked them to come and talk about what they do, how that works, whether that's financial assistance or just awareness and what they do and spreading that awareness and things like that. So I don't want to talk too much. I tend to get carried away with that. I'm going to turn it over to Ray and Deanna, sorry. And y'all have the floor.
Okay, thanks.
That was a great introduction.
Yeah, so
Ray doesn't have to say anything.
yeah, we're good. So this relationship started back in October when we received a donation from KMP, and I contacted Crystal and said, hey, this is wonderful, how did you hear about us? And I'm very appreciative that it was just a Google search, because that means the website that I helped build is working. But we always like to, when someone donates funds, we always want to make sure that whoever it is understands what the funds are going to and the importance of that, because it makes you feel better about the work that you're doing for that donation, but it also makes us feel good that you understand what it is and how we're allocating those funds and what services you're helping to provide. And so the mission of Cancer Care Services is to support cancer patients, care for caregivers, and empower survivors to reduce the impact of cancer in Tarrant County. And so we know that Mansfield is a little bit in Tarrant County. Crystal's told me that a lot of your clients are more in the Arlington area, and so Arlington is something that we are really trying to grow our name in because we don't have a physical space in Arlington. Our physical space is located in the medical district of downtown Fort Worth, and so being able to grow the name of cancer care within Arlington and this east side of Tarrant County is really important for us because that is part of the client service area, but we need them to know and to trust that we're here to help them so no one has to cope with cancer alone. So we have I'm going to show you some photos, we have some client videos that you're going to get to hear from, and then we're going to start with Deanna. She is VP of Philanthropy, and she's going to give kind of the overview and the vision of what Cancer Care is doing.
Thanks, Ray. And thank you all for letting us be here today. We always love to come out and talk about our mission in the community, and obviously just on the fact that that's part of your mission is to really work with the community is really huge. So thank you all for hanging out with us for a little while. So I've been at Cancer Care Services for almost over 9 years, and I'm still as passionate about this mission today as I was on day one. So today we're going to give you a tour of our mission, and it is all about awareness and how we support cancer patients, care for caregivers, and empower survivors to reduce the impact of cancer in Tarrant County. We do this every day. So Cancer Care Services is 76 years old. We were founded in 1946 in Fort Worth by some local physicians and local community leaders who created a legacy 76 years ago that has served over 150,000 people in that time period. In the past decade alone, Cancer Care Services has given $4.5 million in financial assistance, like health insurance, nutrition supplements, co-pays and medication co-pays, directly to cancer patients struggling right here in our community. So we all know what happened in March of 2020 and how COVID changed our world. It affected everyone in some way. However, it had a deadly impact on cancer, which oncology professionals believe we will see the impact of for years to come. We heard a quote from one saying they think the impact will be up to 10 years long. Throughout 2020 and 21, cancer screenings declined by 80 to 90% for the top 3 most common cancers. Cancer itself did not decline during this period of time. It just wasn't diagnosed at the same rate as before 2020. Because mammograms, colonoscopies, prostate screenings were canceled or placed on hold. This means that cancer will likely be found at more advanced stages over the next few years, which will lower survival rates. I personally know how early diagnosis affects a family. And for me, the mission of Cancer Care Services is extremely personal. I heard the words, "Your daughter has cancer," when my daughter Laura was 5 years old. She was just a few short weeks from starting kindergarten. My son Patrick was 4, and I was literally 9 months pregnant with my son Troy. So the sequence of events were that Laura's diagnosis date was August 2nd. Troy was born on August 10th. Laura started 54 weeks of chemotherapy on August 12th. And somewhere in the middle of that was a little 4-year-old boy who couldn't quite figure out what was happening, who this tiny new infant was in our home, and what was happening to his sister and his best friend. But we went through that journey with all that we could give to our family. And there were times that there was great despair, worry, and a lot of sleepless nights. But I truly give thanks every single day for quick action and early diagnosis, and that all 3 of my children are grown, thriving adults today. However, cancer wasn't done with our family, and in the past 5 years, I have seen my sister be diagnosed and my dad. Again, early diagnosis has been life-saving for our family, but it continues to be a very big part of our world. So how does Cancer Care Services impact those people with cancer in our community? We have a passionate staff of cancer advocates, most of whom are licensed social workers who work with each individual, whether they're patients, caregivers, or survivors, to assess their unique needs. Some of these people need emotional support during their cancer journey, and some need financial assistance to help them pay for treatment. Some people feel isolated and alone, and they need a social circle of support. Caregivers, as I can attest to, can often feel depressed and very weary and need their own support services. So there's always something that we can do at Cancer Care Services to reduce our clients' distress and trauma, no matter what type of cancer someone has, no matter how old they are, no matter what their socioeconomic status is. We serve all people. At Cancer Care Services, all really does mean all. And although fundraising has been harder through the pandemic, we've been very resilient. And our commitment to providing 100% of our programs and services for free is a core value of ours. Throughout 2020 and 21, we were able to give even more financial assistance to cancer patients who are facing crisis situations like homelessness and hunger. The top 3 emergency needs from our cancer patients throughout 2020 and most of 2021 were rent, utilities, and food. Imagine going through cancer treatment and also dealing with food and housing insecurity. Like many organizations and businesses, we're in a recovery mode these days. But we're quickly regaining our momentum, like sharing our mission right here with you today, in order to meet the complex needs of today's cancer patients, survivors, and their families. We're also dedicated to doing even more to reduce cancer disparities in Tarrant County, because cancer doesn't affect all people equally. The term cancer disparities refers to the difference in the number of new cancer cases and cancer outcomes that exist among different populations. And here are some shocking examples. The poorer you are in Tarrant County, the more likely you are to get and die from cancer. African Americans have the highest death rate and the shortest survival for most cancers. And cancer is the leading cause of death among Hispanics in our county. So we're working towards expanding our team of 5 community health workers because they are vital to reducing cancer-related disparities, as they have intimate knowledge of the communities in which they serve. We also know that mental health needs have never been higher than they are today. So we must be able to continue providing free counseling that focuses specifically on cancer-related issues. we need to keep caring for adults and children, who we call our youngest caregivers. Our counselors understand the complexities of cancer, whether you are a child, a teenager, or an adult. So supporting the holistic needs of our local cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers really matters to us at Cancer Care Services. And we believe that help and hope shouldn't cost a dime, and that no one should cope with cancer alone. Thank you.
Thanks, Deanna. So I want to first show you a little bit of what our building looks like, but as Deanna told her personal connection, there are a lot of staff within cancer care that do have a personal connection to cancer. And my mom is adopted, and so for a long period of time we never had any information about medical on her side of the family at all, because we didn't know who her biological parents were. And then as I got older, she started thinking that that might be a little bit more important, so she found out who her biological parents were. She had a pen pal relationship with her biological mom, and in the course of one of those note cards that they were sending back and forth, the spouse of her biological mom responded in a note card that said, "I'm so sorry, she passed away 2 years ago from cancer." And so the fact that it's breast cancer and I have a 3-year-old daughter makes it even more important and more heightened for me to be aware of this, as well as to ensure that Cancer Care Services is here for when possibly, almost inevitably, that cancer does affect me personally within my family or within my life. And so it's really important that we all understand the passion that our staff has, and that everyone is coming to our physical office or working at home in a way that they are feeling like they're providing a service that maybe they didn't get to have at that time. Because one of the things that we do hear a lot after when we do tours and presentations is that, "Oh man, I wish I would have known of Cancer Care Services. Wish I would have known when my spouse was diagnosed last year. I wish I would have known when my children had to watch me go through cancer 5 years ago." And so we are here to share this mission with the 15 of you, because it's important that we try to negate that phrase. Because as Deanna mentioned, 76 years old, why do people not know? And so it's very important that we have you here today and you're listening, and we have some marketing pieces that you're welcome to take and share with somebody. It always makes us a good conversation when someone does say, "Oh, you know, I've been impacted by cancer, I have cancer." Putting in, "Oh, I know this organization, Cancer Care Services, here's some information," kind of makes it easier, because that is a very hard discussion to have with somebody is, "Oh, now what do I say to them after they tell me that?" And so the first thing I want to show is where our physical space is. We're not confined by the physical space. We do have individuals who are doing the navigation from other offices as well as at home. And so, let me... missed one. Here we go. Okay, so this is our group support room, and this room is, as it sounds, group support, but it's actually currently being utilized for children's therapy. You're going to see in some other photos we do have an actual play therapy room, but there are so many children who are needing this service that we have had to kind of convert this space into a child's therapy office as well. And then this is another room, a very small room that's more for one-on-one adult counseling sessions. Our financial assistance and our counseling is the only thing that is defined by Tarrant County lines. If somebody needs another service, or they have cancer and say, "Well, now what do I do?" we will answer phone calls and give navigation and direction to other resources to anybody who makes that phone call. And then this is the fun room. So this is the play therapy room. You can see that there are some art supplies underneath the cat photo. There's some toys behind those navy curtains, and those are just tools that a child can use to speak to their therapist, that their therapist then understands how they're feeling about the trauma in relation to cancer. And then this is in the same room but partitioned off, and it is a more preteen, teenage space where they're not in with all the toys, but they can still have a comfortable space to speak with their counselor as well. And so the outside of our building has this beautiful fountains in the front, and it's just kind of a tranquil space for people to come and sit and listen to the water. And we've heard that when you walk into our space, there's this physical feeling of hope. And so it's built to look like a house. It's not a medical facility. It doesn't look like an office of white walls and stark cleaning supplies and things. It's very, very homey feeling, and that was intentional. And so we don't provide any kind of treatment services or research. It's all about what can I do for you right now? What do you need help with right now? What can we uncover that you need help with that you may not know you have needed? And so the first piece that we're going to talk about, we kind of have 3 different areas that we discuss. And this one is how no one should cope with cancer alone. And all too often, we hear this feeling, this phrase of, oh, I feel alone, that no one around me really knows what it is that I'm going through. And you would assume that when somebody is diagnosed with cancer, that friends and family, which is sometimes the case, would come and surround you and help you with all things. But there are some times where people kind of disappear. And one of our clients, she told us that we lost a lot of our close friends because they didn't know what to say. They didn't understand, so it was easier to step back, be involved in the tough, hard decisions. And so for her and her husband, this was a very feeling of alone because everyone dropped off from her. And so she was able to get connected with Cancer Care Services to help bring back in this feeling of, I've got somebody with me that can help me walk this path. But the video that I want to show you next is with one of our family members, Arvella. And she had this feeling of aloneness too when her husband was diagnosed with cancer. And it was really important for her to find a group of individuals within Cancer Care to help her get through this as well.
Casey Hill is the love of my life. We've been married for 31 years. Life was awesome. The last son was getting out of college. We thought we get to travel, we get to live, we get to do what we want to do now. That semester he was to graduate. We found out Casey had cancer, and it totally flipped everything upside down in our lives. I noticed him trying to get up, and he was gripping his chest and could barely move. So we go to the emergency room, and the doctor comes out after they ran the CT and says, well, the malignant tumor that's in your husband's spine, we're gonna go ahead and get him admitted and have oncology come down. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. We're just in the emergency room for chest pain. But it wasn't a chest pain problem at all. It was the pain that was radiating from the malignant tumor that was in his spine. And we had no idea. My struggle was trying to find someone to talk to and trying to find some help for my family. You feel desolate, you feel alone when you're having to deal with being a caregiver and everything that's around it. So when a person is diagnosed with cancer, their fight is with cancer. But the people who care for them, their fight is everything around cancer. And it's difficult. When my husband was diagnosed with cancer, about 3 months later, my sister was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. And she passed away in June of 2019. During that weekend, because she died on my granddaughter's birthday, then I had to I gotta drive my husband to Little Rock for a stem cell transplant, as well as plan funeral services, as well as still try to celebrate my grandbaby and make her smile. It was tough. There's a lady, Carlene King, and I called her and I said, Carlene, I don't want to do this. It's too much for one human being. And she said, you can do this. She said, I've seen you fight through some things in this life that this is nothing. You and God got this. The strength of listening to someone say, you can do this, helped. And I know I can get that here at Cancer Care Services.
You're gonna have to do that 2 more times.
That's fine.
So, cancer care can't do it all alone. We can't provide everything for everybody, and it's so important that we have these partnerships and collaborations. We do a lot of working with the local organizations within our area to provide services for our clients. And we need to specifically add more community health workers like Carlene to be able to say, you can do this, you've got it. To be able to have those hard conversations and discussions, and to be able to help navigate how to have those conversations within their family group and their friends as well. And community health workers are a special group of people who have the ability to be out in the community where they're trusted members already, and to be able to share the mission of cancer care in a very friendly referral pass off of, I know this organization, I work for this organization, you can trust them. And so adding more community health workers to our staff is very, very important. Yes, we have 5, but again, as I said, we still have people saying, I wish I would have known of cancer care services. And so adding more to this team will hopefully help negate that phrase as well. So the next area we're going to talk about is helping you live with cancer. So there, the treatment ends, but cancer doesn't necessarily just disappear from your life. Things just don't go back to how they were before. And there are more than 1 million Texas residents who are survivors of cancer. But that doesn't define who they are. Yes, they had cancer, but they're not defined by their cancer. And so being able to provide services to those individuals who are our survivors are a very important piece of our mission as well. And the next video I'm going to show is of one of our very long time cancer care clients, Karen, and she has gone through the all array of services within her cancer journey, and still will say that she's going through her cancer journey at this time, even though she's not currently getting treatment. And so she is always very grateful to share her story with us and how cancer care helped her and her family.
I became part of Cancer Care Services family in October of 2013. And what Ray says about at your 6-month follow-up and your 1-year follow-up, I just had my 7-year follow-up from my original diagnosis and the subsequent recurrences. And luckily, I get to say that the one that we were chasing, thinking that we had symptoms again, was dispelled and a new medication was put in. So we're still cancer-free, we're still in remission, still very, very happy. So I wanted to share that with everybody, it was pretty cool. So during all this time that I've been part of Cancer Care Services family, I have been able to share happy news like that. I have had to share sad, scary news, and been enveloped and loved by staff and clients and support people. We have gone to events that were absolutely amazing with the attention to detail and the fun and the care for the children and everybody in the family, not just those of us walking around with cancer or past. It's the entire family, and that's the aspect that still affects me the most, because we found out after my first round of treatment, we noticed that our sweet Riley, who at that point was about 3.5, 4 years old, had stopped talking. She wouldn't go to anybody, she wouldn't talk to anybody, she would not leave my side. So Cancer Care found some play therapists and plugged her in, and they took that scared, broken baby and returned to us. So one of the most incredible, vibrant, vivacious children I have ever come across. Not that I'm biased or anything like that, but they gave her vocabulary, they gave her courage, they gave her perseverance that she can go and talk. She shows clients around the building. She runs errands for the staff. She tells the children where the secret candy stashes are. I'm sorry. It's been wonderful. It's outside of the cancer Cancer care has been wonderful. It's been getting new family. I've said it a million times, I will say it a million more times, that if we needed that building moved 2 inches to the left, I would be the first one outside with my shoulder to the bricks. Because cancer care helped us, helped my family, me, my friends, helped me achieve really the one and only goal I have had in all of these 7 years. And that was to prevent me from being a picture on the shelf that my baby had to say goodnight to. And I will be forever grateful for that. Thanks.
So Karen and her family were able to partake in counseling services at no cost to them. Where can you get counseling anywhere at no cost? But all of our services are at no cost to our clients because there are wonderful individuals within our community and wonderful businesses that provide the funds to be able to make it where our clients don't have to receive a bill for any of these things. And you saw the photos of our counseling rooms and how we've even had to grow out of that space. So you can imagine counselors are talking about cancer diagnosis and the trauma around that, but they're also talking about grief. And there's a lot of time that goes into that. And so counselors are spending a lot of time per client, which also means that we need to add more to our counseling staff so then we don't have to turn anybody away. We can not have a wait list for our children's therapy. We do have a couple interns right now who are helping, so we do not have a wait list. But interns are a temporary time frame. So if we don't get any more interns, then there may become a wait list. So adding to our physical staff of counselors is really important for us as well, so we can make sure that we're always being able to serve everybody, so we can help them with their living with cancer right now. So the last area we're going to talk about is you deserve help today. And this goes a lot into the health disparities conversation that Deanna is going to end our session with. But you know, if you think about a time when maybe you personally have had to ask for help and for something, and maybe that was hard because you're not good at asking for help. Maybe there were too many things you even had going on where you couldn't even figure out what the first thing you needed help on was. And so imagine that same scenario but with cancer. We need this help, but we don't even know where to start. And one of the things that we always want is to ensure that everyone has access to cancer care services, no matter where you are, what your income level is, because cancer doesn't discriminate against those things, so neither does cancer care services. And so our final client video that I'm going to show you is one of our family members who, who had a very difficult time because her father, when he was diagnosed with cancer, did not speak the same language as his oncologist. So that then means that the daughter is now making decisions about what happens to her father in regards to cancer. And so this is Jamie and her story.
Well, my dad, he's quiet. It's like me. It was February 2nd. He get lost driving to our house.
And that was a red flag.
Yes.
Because his profession is driving.
So next day we went to Baylor. They told me we did an MRI and we see a tumor in his head. And that night they say we need to do a surgery since they don't speak English. And I had to translate. It was hard for me to tell them. And I had to be strong because my mom was there. And he was like, you can decide what you want the doctors do it to me. And that was a big responsibility. And then the social worker at John Pierre Smith, they told us about cancer care services, the program. That was amazing. and social working and cancer care. She was kind. She understand my situation. She was that sunshine that I was looking for. Plus, she speaks Spanish, so I feel so comfortable talking to her. She gave me a lot of resources, and she told me about the classes examining. I want to learn. I want to know how to help my dad. And then she calls again and say, you are gonna be approved for paying your bills this month. We were shocked, but we were so happy.
That month we really got hit with the bulk of the hospital bills. We were going default on, I think, the water bill, and so they paid that. Electricity as well. Financially, that really helped us out, just to get back on our feet and try to sort through the whole thing.
Cancer carers is hope and love. They understand your situation. They hug you, if that is a proper word. They hug you.
So how can we help others not be in the same situation as Jamie and her father? Maybe they speak a different language. Maybe they don't have health insurance. And so Cancer Care wants to be able to provide access to all individuals to help reduce those barriers no matter what it is that they are. And the way we do that is by spreading awareness of Cancer Care services and sharing the mission, and that, I don't know what Cancer Care can do for you, but you definitely need to call them. And we do that through tours like this. And so I have these cards that if you know somebody that needs to know about Cancer Care services, just as information, as a client themselves, you can fill this out and we can get in touch with you. But if you have another group, a Bible group or a book club or something that needs to learn about Cancer Care, as we did today in a group, because if I can tell 15 of you at one time, how much faster am I getting that out as opposed to just a one-on-one referral connection? And so that's what those are for. If you're interested and you would like to discuss having us come out or hold a tour or just speak one-on-one with somebody, we are always open to do that as well. I do have some other marketing pieces that you're welcome to pick up, and these are so easy and work as the best kind of pass off of Cancer Care can help you. And they're English on one side and Spanish on the other, and so you're welcome to take these as well. And Deanna's gonna close us out with a little bit more about kind of the conversations we've been having around health disparities that have come up in regard when the pandemic was happening and how some of these health related items were being brought to the surface.
Yeah, as Ray said, and obviously Jamie and Stella's family mean a lot to all of us at Cancer Care Services. I remember watching when my daughter was being treated in Chicago, 12-year-olds translating for their parents what was happening to their siblings. It was really, really hard to watch, and seeing this all happening and the responsibility that it brought on Jamie. So if we can reduce some of those barriers for some of our clients, we're gonna do all we can. We have known for a long time, way before March of 2020, that there were health inequities in this county. Texas ranks the highest in the nation for uninsured individuals. This is not a ranking that we would like in this state. We also know that cancer is affecting the Black and brown communities in our county at a different rate, and so this is incredibly important to us. We have an equity group that is working have their own mission statement and everything else regarding that, and we are really in it to improve health disparities in our community. Anything else that we can add about that? There wasn't really much more in the thing the other day.
The big piece is really the community health workers. We talked about that, and it's a certification based on the number of hours you've put into the community and your position and being able to share, and that is a really big piece because we do have one of our community health workers is Spanish speaking, and so she will then go into some of our more underserved neighborhoods and zip codes that are Spanish speaking, so she can make that connection with them, and then she would also be the person that they would call whenever they do need services, and so it's not being passed in from one person to another. We do have a translating service that we partner with to be able to get any kind of language, because we know that in Arlington itself, that's a very popular demographic for more of the Asian community. And so that is a piece that we make sure we try to ensure the services are accessible for them as well.
We do know that community health workers are indeed the answer to health disparities in our community. So we have 5 that we mentioned earlier. We also have our social workers in our office are at like number 11 now. We keep, fortunately, being able to add because the needs are so great there. So 11 social workers, and then also 5 community health workers to continue to help in all ways. And these are, as Ray mentioned, people that are out in the community, continuing to run into people all the time that say we didn't even know that you existed. Arlington is ranked 4 for Vietnamese speaking communities in the nation. And so we also have someone on our board who is doing some translating, not only for us to have English and Spanish, but to have Vietnamese. We also know that French is one of the a large language that is needed at JPS from people coming in from Africa. So we use 10 translations, which has like 240 different languages. Who knew that there were that many? So that we are able to really meet people where they are.
And I think the big thing is that we are open to hearing what else needs to be done. So we're doing the languages, we're doing the community health work. What else needs to be done? And so we are very open to having those conversations, and like when our clients come in and are able to discuss and say, well, I'm also having this issue, and then keeps seeing that recurring over and over, and then taking it up to the board and saying, this is what we're seeing, how can we help fix this? But that's the end of our formal piece of the tour, so if anybody has any questions, we're welcome to answer those. So